At the junkyard, I luckily found a 2008 Jeep Commander with 5.7 liter HEMI. So I pulled this engine out of that. And typically, these types of engines get scooped up very quickly. So I was very lucky to find this engine in the junkyard. So here it is. I pulled it out. The cylinders were incredibly rusted. However, the cylinder heads were good, and hopefully the bottom end is good as far as the crankshaft goes, because that's the most important thing. We definitely have come out on top here. I had the cylinder heads off already at the junkyard. I just put them on real quick for the purpose of transportation, and I also pulled out the spark plugs in order to pour a 50-50 mixture of automatic transmission fluid and gasoline in there to try to work loose any of the rust that's in there. So the engine is locked up. It's not completely locked up, but you can only move it a certain amount before it's just completely stuck. I've had it soaking since last night. We're going to pull the cylinder heads off right now and see what the cylinders look like. It actually appears as though this might have helped a little bit. These cylinder heads are almost like new. I'm very happy with how well they cleaned up. They all look very good, even the inside of there. There's a little bit of flash rust that was already pre-existing in those ports. But for the most part, all of that's going to clean up, and it's not going to cause an issue in the performance of the engine. Everything cleaned up real nice. You guys all remember how poorly it looked before. So I'm glad how well these came out. Now it's time to get these pistons knocked out, and hopefully the bottom end, specifically the crankshaft, is in good condition. Now that the engine is out in the sun, you all can see what we're dealing with. The little concoction I poured in there with the gasoline and ATF, it actually worked a little better than I thought it would. A bit more corrosive. You can see where it was sitting at the bottom of this piston here. A lot of that carbon is gone. However, this ridge all the way up here is really rusted up. I'm not too concerned about the block since we're not using it. I really just want to make sure we can get these pistons out. Other than that, things look good. My plan is to use this piece of sandpaper and sand down the cylinder walls so we can get this engine spinning over. That way we can remove the crankshaft and the pistons. Again, we're not using the block, so that's not the concern. Really, we just want to make sure the pistons will come out in one piece. All right, guys, we got the donor engine torn down. I cannot even express how pristine the inside of this engine looks like. It just looks marvelous. So, crankshaft is good, bearings are good. I think we're just gonna swap the entire rotating assembly from this block. By that, I just mean the crankshaft and pistons and connecting rods from this engine onto our old one, and then use that for the rebuild. I'm not gonna touch the cam or the lifters or anything. I'll just leave that in there. We also got the oil pump off of that, which is awesome. What I'm gonna do later, and probably off camera, is get all the bad parts that we're not gonna use from our old engine and just put it back in this junkyard engine and send this back to the junkyard later. And then I'm gonna get all my money back. So as long as I bring back everything, the junkyard markings are still on it, they're gonna give me all my money back as if, as if it's the same exact thing I brought there. So basically I'm getting a whole rebuilt engine for free. So this is gonna be awesome, just for a couple hours of work. Save us a lot of money. As far as the bearings go, as I was saying, they all look pristine. These are the main bearings. I mean, they're covered in oil, but they all look good. Crankshaft, perfect. I mean, there's some rust intrusion, but it's very minuscule. It's very minuscule, very surface level. I can just wipe it off with my hand, and yeah. Same thing. There is some rust on this tone ring, but that's not going to be an issue. It's all gonna, yeah. You can see the rust there, but it'll all come off easily. There's those. Here are the pistons and connecting rods, rod bearings. They all look lovely, just unbelievably good. I don't know how many miles this engine had, but man, it looks really good. So we're gonna clean these up, and hopefully soon we will be at the midway point of this project and we can start putting things back together. All right, guys, since the last clip, I got that last engine all reassembled and returned and got all my money back. Since then, I also reassembled this engine, which was the original engine, using our new parts. So as you can see, it's all reassembled. Looks good. It all looks good. And, the bottom end, everything, torqued down, crankshaft, bearings, connecting rods, gaskets, everything, As for now, we're going to get this engine put back in the car, and we're on our way to get this thing running. Okay, quite a bit has happened since the last time we checked in. I got the engine all back together. Had to do it twice though. So what happened was put it back in the car and I reassembled everything. There were quite a few things that were wrong. So one of them was one of the push rods was bent. It was in that cylinder where all the issues were with the damaged cylinder and the damaged cylinder head, where the piece of the valve seat had made its way back into the cylinder. So had to run to the junkyard and get a new push rod. And then after I reassembled everything, I went to fill the coolant, and then all of a sudden the coolant started pissing out the side of the cylinder head, between where the cylinder head mates to the block and in between the head gasket. So I put the head gasket on backwards. I put the passenger side cylinder head on correctly, thank goodness, because there's a lot more to remove on that side. But I put this one, I just kind of threw it on there, didn't really look or anything, and then just started torquing it down. So anyway, coolant started pissing out between there, had to remove it. Only took me about half an hour, and then reinstalled it correctly. I ended up just reusing the cylinder head. I did order a new set of cylinder head gaskets just in case. However, I think it's going to be okay. I haven't started the engine, so it hasn't gone through a heat cycle or anything. So hopefully that multi-layered steel head gasket is still fine. Anyway, So now I reassembled this engine completely now. It should be good to go. Should be ready to start. I filled it up with coolant. I have some oil in it, and now we just need to crank it up, build some oil pressure before we actually start it. As you can see, I left the spark plugs and coil packs out so we can build up oil pressure and the engine can spin over freely. Got the jump starter hooked up. Time to build some oil pressure. Okay, let's just let it sit and charge up a little bit. Right guys, this is it. Spark plugs are in, coil packs are in, oil is topped off. All we gotta do is start it. Engine rebuild, baby. Runs good. It's running. No noises. No bottom end noises. No top end noises. No nothing like that. However, there is a slight misfire, so we'll just have to see how that turns out. Maybe it just needs to run a little bit and it'll clear up, but I don't know. You can really hear the misfire when you go towards the back. Now, typically when I get a new engine rebuilt and running, I'm gonna let it run for about half an hour and then change the oil. Then we can take it on a drive and stuff like that, make sure the coolant's bled and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's really nothing left to show here. Yeah, the engine's really shaking, I don't know. I replaced all the stuff that was bad, like this bent push rod, that bad piston, you know, all those other issues. There was also a spark plug that was having problems, but we'll see. Maybe I left something unplugged. I don't know. I'll figure it out and get back to y'all. That's going to conclude this episode. Thank y'all for watching. Hopefully next time we're going to figure out why it's not running correctly. I did begin some diagnostics with no luck, but next time we're going to figure it out. But we made a lot of progress with this episode. The car is running, so far so good. We're not going to go too much right now into the diagnostics of why the car is not running like it's supposed to. I have, based on the diagnostics I've done, I'm pretty sure that everything with the bottom end, the compression, the lifters, everything like that is okay. I did pop off the valve cover. You know, everything's moving like it should. So far, so good. But anyway, the car's running. That's all that matters. So as for now, I'm grinding. I hope you all are doing the same. You all stay strong, stay healthy, and stay inspired. I'm out. God bless.